This is probably going to be pretty hard to convey on a video with the equipment that I have, but I'll try and do my best here just to give you a little bit of a little course. Um, I'm by no means an expert. I do a lot of knotters, and I'm fairly sufficient. But there are definitely guys better than I am that know a lot more than I do. But over the years, you do pick up some stuff. So there's basically four tensions based on poundage that the twine is supposed to go through. Sometimes it's just by feel, and that's usually how I do it. I usually don't break out the scale, but for this instance I do. I just have a little cheap luggage scale. So the first one we want to do would be, we want to tie a knot here in the twine. That'll let us do two tensions. So the first one, now we can pull this back through. So the first one is the tension coming out of your tensioner right here, and it should be somewhere around 7 pounds. It's critical, but not. Again, it's more by feel. I'm showing somewhere around 8 pounds, which is fine. Again, over the years you develop a sense of how tight things should be. The next one, and this here is the one that gets everybody, because everybody wants to tighten this spring down to tighten this tension here. So again, when you're looking at a binder and you see the spring crank down, you almost guarantee that they had knotter problems, and that's how they tried to fix it. So it was taught to me one time by an Amishman who works on a lot of knotters, and I gained a lot of knowledge from him, plus reading and just overall experience. But you want to pull this straight out this way. So I'm hoping the video catches this, but again, I have this scale up, and you want to pull the twine out of this holder right here. And that's going to be between 47 and 54 pounds. So right there I'm at 25, I'm at about 30, I'm at about 40. Now, it hasn't pulled out yet, so now what I'll do, I'll just kind of pull it out, and if you look at it, it's not crushed. A lot of times people will tighten that so bad that this twine has actually got a flat spot in it where that was being held. So right now it's not flat, it's not crushed at all. It's still fairly round. It was actually kind of hard to pull out, which is good. So that to me is a good tension right there, at least to start with. And I also, when I go back, this knotter has basically been rebuilt. 2 new gears, 2 new springs, the disc plate, the disc holder, the bill hook is not new, and I didn't have a follower here, so that is not new. But other than that, and this actually, I tried to use one and it just didn't want to act right, so this can is new. That's a lot of money, but when you're going through the field, and you have problems, again, you take all the mechanical issue out. All you should really have to do at this point would be tighten or loosen these 2 nuts. So now we're ready to tie a knot, and it's simple. I guess I did forget one. So this one, this is supposed to trip at somewhere between 10 and 24 pounds. That's a big number. You're at about 17 pounds right there, and there it tripped at about 20 something. So that's within the specified range. So now we want to set our twine up to tie. Go down through a cycle. Now let's tie a knot for real. I don't want to pull it out, but you have to keep tension on it the whole time. Okay, so now the bill hook is still holding the twine. Now this one's to pull out at between 20 and 40 pounds. And these are big ranges. I'm not sure what's optimal. Again, I go by feel, but 20 to 40 pounds is what the book says this should pull out at. And hold on, my cheap scale. Well, I don't know how to use it. So right now I'm at about 25, and I still have not tripped yet. So I'm at 28. Now, if it takes me a little longer, and I'm at the spec right there, if it takes me much harder to pull, I will probably loosen that spring up a little bit. But again, to me, that's pretty good. And it's one of the things I've tried. I've looked at new knotters, brand new knotters, to see what they look like when they tie. And it's just really hard to know what a perfect knot should look like. I really don't know. I always have a leg here. I don't know if other people do or not, but I always have that leg right there. Always. And there's a couple other things. Basically, after your bill hook grabs your twine for the last time and closes, you should just be below the knife, so it's ready to cut, you know, when it comes through. Now, if it's at the knife before a bill hook closes, obviously you're going to cut the twine before the knot is actually tied, because the bill hook hasn't done its job yet. And there's another test where you pull your needle through, and there'll be gaps here that you have to have for your twine to fit in. And this knotter does all that. It fills all the little voids. Now, one thing I am not happy about is, I don't know if you can see it, your needle sticks in the chamber there, probably a little farther than I want it to. And there's a very complicated way to fix that. But that to me, if you buy 10 binders, 8 of them are going to look like that. So it's never really been a big issue to me until it is an issue. After it becomes an issue, then we'd probably take care of it. You gotta heat stuff cherry red, bend a pretty critical shaft to get this needle back, you know, out of the chamber and still be timed right to come through the knotter when it should. And the other thing, you know, I'll tighten that up before it goes. But he had problems with it, keep on tying. It would never stop. And his piece here was really wobbly. And then once I had started to figure that out, this gear here was actually broken. So when I went to put a new piece on here, because it was welded and so forth, the new piece actually would not clear the welds and stuff. So again, a lot of money, but I don't know how else to fix it. A lot of times you can bend this to get it more on the hump here, and this piece here will be replaced quite often. I hope you can see it, maybe not. This piece here, it's called a pretzel, or International calls it a shaft link. Most Amishmen call it a pretzel. But this area here is your key. That and the dog, those right there are your key things in telling your knotter when to go. So what happens is, when you pull your trip arm, it's gonna go past that hump. It's gonna pull a finger away from a dog. The dog in turn is gonna drive this piece here, which allows your knotter to go, which allows all this to turn, and basically it transfers all the way up into the knotter. And again, please excuse my videos, they're rough. I don't plan on ever editing videos. This is for basically a layman or someone who wants maybe not a perfect example or a perfect way to do it, but it gets me through my job, and I do a lot. You know, sometimes I have so much trouble with knotters. You know, I can try 50 knots here in the shop, but as I deliver them, you know, I tell people, you can tie 50 knots in a row in the shop and the knots look good, but when you get corn, you know, pressing against this and pressing against this and pressing against this and everything else, that changes everything. It changes your needle timing, or it could possibly change your needle timing. So you more than likely will have to adjust some tension somewhere. And even after a break-in period, you're probably going to have to adjust some tension somewhere. So, but that's just a rough idea. So coming out of here, you should have 7 to 10 pounds, preferably on the 7. Coming out of here, I should say, you should have about 7 pounds. And then this trip should trip at about 20 pounds or a little less. And then when you pull straight out here, again, it's between 47 and 50 some pounds. But if you flatten your twine when you pull it out, you're too tight. And then after your knotter ties, you should have between 20 and 40 pounds of pull to get it off the bill hook. So that, again, that's just a little quick thing of how I do knotter twine, or knotter for binders. Grain binders are kind of the same principle. For some reason, grain binders, they don't take the beating that corn binders do. Well, obviously grain is a lot smaller, you know, so while there's issues with grain binders, corn binders have a lot of issues. It's a very complicated piece. Everything has to work just perfectly. It's not usually just one thing, it's a combination of several things. So I hope that helps.